Let not your hearts be troubled. His tender words I hear, and resting on his goodness, I lose all my doubts and my fears. Though by the path he leadeth, but one step, oh, only one step I may see, for his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. So I will sing because I am happy, and I will sing because I am free, for his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. So I will sing, I will sing because I'm happy, and I will sing, I will sing because I am free, for his eye is on the sparrow, and I know, and I know, and I know he watches me.
Hello, my name is Dr. Soon Cho, and I'm a member of the voice faculty at Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington, and I am delighted to be your host tonight. PLU Department of Music is thrilled to welcome bass Jared Schwartz as our special guest. We have 4 fabulous singers slated to sing for Mr. Schwartz, followed by a Q&A session. And unlike other masterclasses, today they'll be singing repertoire from the musical theater and crossover genres. Bass Jared Schwartz is a versatile musician with rich and varied performance experiences in both classical and popular music. He is a bass soloist for opera, oratorio, and concerts in both the U.S. and Europe. Gramophone held him as a bass with an outstanding flexibility and range, and Opera News praised him for his sensitive and effective interpretations. He's a recording artist for Toccata Classics London label, and his albums of Foray and Liszt songs for bass and piano debuted at the top of the Billboard classical charts and won multiple Album of the Year awards. He is also a very successful voice teacher with a private studio in Dallas, Texas. His students are on Broadway shows, including Hamilton, Miss Saigon, and Spider-Man. and some are singing around the world, including Glimmerglass, Santa Fe, and Washington National Operas. Please join me in welcoming Jared Schwartz to PLU's virtual masterclass. Hello.
Hey, good evening. Howdy
How
from
are
Dallas.
you?
I'm glad to be here. It's cold in Dallas today. I don't like it at all. It's like 40
Oh,
degrees, which is winter in Texas. But
so what's considered cold? I've lived in Texas, but I don't think the North Pacific
I mean,
Northwesterners know.
I think below 60 degrees, we start to consider ourselves in a blizzard. So, yeah. It's kind of pathetic because I grew up in the north actually and then moved to Texas about 14 years ago, and I've completely lost all my northern ability to handle cold. So, here we are. I
So do
survived.
you have the heat on in your house
The heat
or?
on. I have on like an extra sweater. I have on an extra heater in the room. Yeah, we are somehow surviving, but we'll make it. Music will keep us warm.
Yeah. Well, I know you're 2 hours ahead too, so thank you for making the time.
Glad to
Yeah.
be fun.
Not only are you an accomplished singer and a voice teacher, you're also a fantastic pianist, composer, and music director. Like you were the music director for, I believe, like the world premiere of Heathers, the musical, the high school edition, right?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It's a show that's pretty controversial. If anyone in our audience has watched the movie or seen the original off-Broadway musical, and they decided they wanted to take the message of that musical, which is like make something beautiful with your life, in spite of all of the crass humor and stuff and blowing up schools and stuff. And so they actually came to a friend of mine who's a very talented director working with high school kids, and she approached me if I would work with them all on it. And we got to put together the first high school production of Heathers with some new songs and got to work very closely with both the composer and the lyricist. And it was wonderful. Highly recommend it. Check out Heathers. I think they call it Heathers 101 or something. Heathers the musical high school edition, but yeah, check it out.
Well, PLU 2 years ago, I believe we have a new degree plan. It's BFA in musical theater, and it's very popular already. And so tonight it's special because the singers are singing rep from the musical theater and non-classical genre, and we're really excited because you have students singing on Broadway. Like that's a voice teacher's dream.
It's pretty surreal. Yeah.
Surreal, absolutely. So, how did you feel when your first student, told you it's like, "Oh, by the way, I auditioned and I'm gonna be on Hamilton."
That was that was nuts. I mean, the audition process for that, there was quite a few rounds of auditions, and they wanted her to come in as to be ready to do any of the Schuyler sisters. So she had to be prepared for Eliza, Peggy, and Angelica, and that's all the rapping stuff. That's all the singing stuff, and she did all that stuff. And she and I had worked together before the audition and taken a pop song by John Mayer called "I'm Gonna Find Another You," and I had rearranged it to sound like Burn almost. And it's like starts out with like little chord, and I've known her since she was a sophomore in high school, so I know how her voice works. So I made that arrangement work for her voice. I put in all kinds of riffs. And so after she did all the Hamilton sides that they wanted, they asked her for something else, and she pulled it out, and she nailed it. And she got to be a part of history. She sang at the Tonys. She's in the movie that's on Disney Plus. I mean, it's really, I've seen her be in the ensemble, and then I've seen her play Eliza, and it's just like I can't really give a fair opinion of Hamilton, because when you look up and see someone you care about living out their dream, it's the best feeling ever. So it's wonderful. I'm very grateful. It's really fun.
Absolutely. And for you to be well versed in both, the popular style and classical, but you are a classically trained opera singer. But when you were undergrad, what were you said that you auditioned for
No,
piano?
I didn't know what I was doing. I auditioned for piano, voice, and French horn, and got in on all of them because I grew up in Indiana, and there was really nothing to do but practice. So that's what I did. Practice and go to church. And that's what my life was. My life has expanded a little bit since then. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just decided to do it all. and eventually kind of narrowed down and got my master's degree in singing. But it's enabled me as a music director, as a singer, as a composer, as someone who takes music that hasn't been recorded before and really studies it and looks at it for all kinds of different colors and textures, and studying text and poetry. I just was a strange kid that loved music and loved performing and just wanted to be a part of it. And thankfully had parents that were like, sure, whatever, we don't know what you're doing, but do it. So yeah, I've been very lucky.
Awesome. Are you currently working on special projects? Because I know that you do a lot of research, specifically repertoire for bass.
Yeah, I have gotten frustrated that there's not a lot of music for low voice singers, whether they're male or female. And one of the things I would like to do is create more repertoire for low voices. And I've done that with some albums. I made an edition of Even Songs of Travel by Vaughan Williams. That's in what I call the man key. It's not, they call it the very low key. That's just like helps out basses that don't have to sit so high. But I've also been writing. I've been writing a spy opera for a leading character that's a bass, and the leading female character is a contralto.
What?
You know,
that doesn't even exist.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
all the low voices are finally getting their chance to be young, interesting, sexy people instead of just like the wizards and the old ladies, okay? So there's 7 episodes in my season 1 of my spy opera. It's incredibly inappropriate. It's hysterical. It's like South Park meets James Bond meets Austin Powers. And yeah, just trying to like edit through that and try and get that going and see where that all is going to lead. That's one of my many projects. So.
Sure. And as a bass, it takes a while for the instrument to mature.
Oh God, yes.
And I bet you're still waiting because you sing Wagner and, heavier rep, and that takes even longer. And we had Greer Grimsey as one of the masterclass clinician last week, and he told a young bass that he just needs to be patient.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
So what can young, low voice female and male singers do while they're waiting? What are some things that they can work on?
Great question. I would recommend learning an instrument, especially if you don't know piano. I would study my languages. I wish there had been more of a language component in my upbringing, but I grew up in Indiana in a town of about 3,000 people. There wasn't a lot of diversity. I would build up my core strength. I would work on my flexibility. I would work on my emotional health. If you're going to be a performer, you've got to deal with a lot of craziness. I would fall in love. I would get my heart broken. I would do all the things that you have to. I wouldn't murder people, okay? But I wouldn't do everything to do in opera. But I would live life. And I would try and listen to as much opera. I'd try and go see as many performances of everything. I go to New York all the time, and I probably see 5 musicals for every one opera I go to, just because I think there's a lot more cutting edge stuff happening in the Broadway community than necessarily at the Met. But maybe that's going to change. So we'll see.
Right. Awesome. Well, we have 4 singers anxiously waiting to sing for you. We'll share tonight's program on chat for our audience members. So also, please, audience members, feel free to use the chat feature to communicate with the participants. Without further delay, let's welcome our first singer.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Annika Phillips, and I will be singing Fascinating Rhythm from Lady Be Good, which is by Gershwin.
Wonderful. I love this piece. Have fun.
Thanks. Got a little rhythm, a rhythm, a rhythm that pitter-pats through my brain. So darn persistent like a flipper. Each morning I get up with the sun, start a hopping, never stopping, to find at night no work has been done. I know that once it didn't matter, but now you're doing wrong when you start to patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off, decide to run along somewhere far away off and make it snappy? Oh, how I long to be the girl I used to be. Fascinating rhythm, won't you stop picking on me? Fascinating rhythm, you've got me on the go. Fascinating rhythm, I'm all a quiver. What a mess you're making, the neighbors want to know why you always shaking just like a flipper. Each morning I get up with the sun, start hopping, never stopping, to find at night no work has been done. I know that once it didn't matter, but now you're doing wrong when you start to patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off, decide to run along somewhere far away off and make it snappy? Oh, how I long to be the girl I used to be. Fascinating rhythm, won't you stop picking on me?
Bravo! That was so fun. I love that. I love that. I love that. Have you done a lot of musical theater? What's your background?
Yeah, I've been in choir for forever, and I've done a fair amount of musical theater as well. So I've done a mix for about as long as I've been singing.
What are your favorite shows? I'm just curious.
Oh, I love pretty much every show I've seen. My favorite one so far has been Tuck Everlasting.
Oh, okay. So I also directed the high school premiere of that as well, the year after.
Oh.
Yeah. It's such a, no one knows that show. That's so, you're like a real hipster musical theater girl. Like, that's impressive. Good for you. Have you been to Broadway and seen it there, or just like bootlegs?
No, bootlegs, and then I got to be in it, so that was helpful.
Hey, who were you in Tuck? Who were you in Tuck?
I was May Tuck.
Live that beautiful day. Okay, that's awesome. Fantastic. I love it. This is a great song for you. You have a beautiful voice. I love your energy. I love what you're doing with it. I mean, you're like a little Kelly O'Hara, like in the making. Like you could totally go that path if that's where you want to be, you know? I love the way you built this. I felt like you got more comfortable as it went on. I think there's just a couple places, I just have a couple ideas for you. I think it's great. I'm just going to fine tune. You're doing so well, dear, okay? I think on a couple vowels, because it's musical theater, it's a little different than opera, not hugely different. I think we could put a little bit more depth up there. We'll give it a little bit more of a musical theater cry, and just a little bit more depth in the sound. So let me show you what I mean by that. Day. The first one I thought of was like on the when we go up for day. So can we do this for me? Let's just kind of feel our neck, okay? For our friends at home, we're gonna feel our sternocleidomastoids if they're like super nerds like me, okay? And can we feel those muscles? When we swallow, you feel your larynx go up. I'm sure you've heard all these things before, okay? And we're gonna be a little silly right now, okay? And we're gonna go and take what I call a Darth Vader breath, okay? It sounds like this. Can you try that? You kind of feel like a east-west widening down here. I'm talking like way down here by your collarbone. I don't know how well you can, okay? Yeah, you feel that? Yeah, move. Can you try that again? You feel how much depth and width there is down there? You know, I think about that a lot when I'm singing Verdi and Wagner, but I also need that in all of my Broadway people. You know, we spend a lot of time making sure larynx isn't going up because it's really easy to do in a certain part of the voice that it just, the vowels don't quite get as much depth and power as they could. And so for instance, we're gonna just chuck the words and we're gonna use what I call the drunk French cow, okay? That's absolutely ridiculous. And the only reason we do this is, especially in singing, we usually want a balance of dark and light. And I call the dark side of the voice, or chiaroscuro, whatever the fancy word is, the dark side, the drunk cow, and that's like, oh, okay? But if we just sang with like a drunk cow, we'd sound like we're 900 years old, and we'd sound really goofy, okay? The French part of the cow is like the, oui, oui, I fought in your general direction, okay? But if we just sing with that, we kind of sound like, God forgive me for saying this, but we sound like Patty LuPone, and we're like, sound like this, and it's too much. And in all singing, we want to balance these characteristics. So I take plus and get I have a little mucus today. I'm fighting tonsillitis, but we're going to try it. So can you put your hands back up here where you felt that widening? And we're going to go, like a little baby drunk cow. You feel it kind of widening a little bit?
Yeah.
So can we do that same function on, that's too high for me. I'm not a soprano or a tenor. Can you just try and moo it out up there? And as it gets higher, we're going to get a little wider here, okay? Yeah. So it got more operatic in a way. But can we do that with the words now in that same neck, and then we're going to add one more thing to this little mix.
And hangs around all day.
And now on that day, can we alter it slightly more towards ah? Sure. On day. And we're going to kind of straight tone and then wiggle into it. It'll just give a little bit more of that Broadway cry, you know?
Right.
Try it.
And hangs around all day.
Yeah, and things like that you can look for in this song and play with. Not every note has to be perfectly round golden tones in this style. And I love that because like after I finished my graduate degree, it was like I was scared to step out of that very narrow box. And that's really sad because like music is a lot more interesting than just that, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that, but even my favorite opera singers aren't afraid to like break out of that, you know? So can you also, I would put some of that, where else was I looking at that? I used to be, you can even put a little scoop in there, you know what I'm saying? These are all just little things you're doing so well. Those are my only real vocal notes for this, okay? My other thought is, who are you singing to in this?
Technically in the show, an audience, because it's a performance within the show.
What are you trying to convey at the beginning of the song, in the middle of the song, in the end of the song? What is the arc of this? Where's it going?
I guess I feel like the beginning is more playful, and by the end, it's just complete, like, not frustration, but you're out of, there's no focus. Everything's out of whack.
Great, I love that. I think the beginning can be playful. It can maybe even be a little seductive. You know, you're gonna have a little rhythm. You can be a little sultry with that. Don't be afraid to like get a little shimmy in there. The other thing, if we can start it again, I don't know if we have time. I think we have time. I would love to start it again. And I want to challenge you. This is such like okay, I have my 3-minute warning. This is such an opera singer thing that we always want to do parallel arms. Okay, whatever one arm does, the other one wants to do. Can we try it? Can you bring one in? Can you play with your hair? Can you be just like have a little fun? I mean, sorry if we're all very conservative, I don't know. But can we just be a little have fun with our shoulders, use our arms, use our hands, use our face, can we try it again from the top? Can you be a bit more naughty, so to speak?
I can try.
I believe in you. Make them look. Oh yeah.
Got a little rhythm, a rhythm, a rhythm. A pitter-pats through my brain.
Go with it.
Darn persistent, the day isn't distant when it'll drive me insane.
Yeah, you can pause for a second. I dare you. We don't have much time with, but you could push the envelope more. At least for me, okay? And go far and say, where's that? It'll drive me in. I don't know if you can growl, but you could totally do that and no one's gonna get mad. In fact, they'll be like, oh, baby, okay? drive me insane. Okay, don't be afraid to explore these other options out there in musical theater, because what you're doing is beautiful. And that at first, I say singing has to be accurate, which you're great. Singing then has to be beautiful, which you are. Then we have to make it interesting. Okay, and I just encourage you to go in there, be a little naughty, break some rules, make some new sounds, put a little bit more cry, a little more drunk French cow in there. But you're doing great stuff. Do you have any questions, quick?
No, thank you.
Awesome. Keep singing, keep exploring, keep listening to bootlegs since there's no Broadway to go to right now. And maybe check out Almost Real from Bridges of Madison County if you haven't sung that yet. I think that would be a great thing for you to check out next. You will love it. Awesome.
Okay.
Great singing tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful job, Annika. And now we have our next singer, Luke.
Luke. May the Schwartz be with you.
My sister's name is Leia. Anyway.
Oh, no way.
Okay. Hi, my name is Luke Wenceslaw, and my piece today is Love I Hear from A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum by Sondheim.
Love this. Have fun.
Now that we're alone, may I tell you, I've been feeling very strange. Either something's in the air or else a change is happening in me. I think I know the cause. I hope I know the cause. From everything I've heard, there's only one cause it can be. Love I hear makes you sigh a lot. Oh, so love I hear leaves you weak. Love I hear makes you blush and turns you ashen. You try to speak with passion and squeak. I hear love, they say, makes you pine away, but you pine away with an idiotic grin. I pine, I blush, I squeak, I squawk. Today I woke too weak to walk. With love I hear, I feel, I fear, I'm in. Ah, see what I mean? La da 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 da. I hum a lot too. I'm dazed, I'm pale, I'm sick, I'm sore. I've never felt so well before. With love I hear, I feel, I fear, I know I am, I'm sure, I mean, I hope, I trust, I pray, I must be in. Forgive me if I shout. Forgive me if I crow. I've only just found out, and, well, I thought you ought to know.
Bravo. Oh, that was great. That was so fun. How long have you been working on this piece?
About 2 months. I'm also using it for this Golden Age class I'm in.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, this is wonderful Golden Age material here. Have you seen this show?
No, but I watched the movie of it. It's not the same thing, but yeah.
It's close. I have not seen a production of A Funny Thing live ever. I've just found some bootlegs and stuff like that. Some of these are hard to find. You have a great sound. This is a great song for you. I love all of your facial expressions. It's so fun. It's so charming. It's exactly what this song needs. This is great for you. What other musical theater do you like? I'm just curious.
Musicals I really like are Amelie and Hadestown. I really like those two.
Hey, we're like more hipsters tonight. We know our shows, our short run shows like Amelie. Have you seen Hadestown?
No, but I found some slime tutorials on it though, so I'll watch it eventually.
God bless the slime tutorials. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Hadestown was like when they do the lights thing and all that. Love that. Love that. I would not say Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum is like a Hadestown kind of style, but you should check out some of that stuff. I don't have to think about it a bit, but can we go back to the top of this one? Who are you talking to?
So, I guess, well, realistically, the audience, but it's because he's confessing that he's in love, for the first time, and so he's really speaking almost like to love itself.
Can you go back to the top? And this is a little bit challenging because I know you're having to use a track, okay?
Okay.
One of my favorite words to see on a piece of music is freely, because that means I can do whatever I want and nobody can get mad at me, okay? Now, we have to sing the right pitches. We have to sing kind of the right rhythms, okay? But I feel like, what do you think his emotional state is when he's starting this song?
He cannot wait to tell them, so he's almost like very excited. He doesn't know how to say. He doesn't know like how he wants to say. He's just like, I just got to tell someone.
And all the stuff you're doing as you're talking about it is what I like to call the shtick that we need to come in for that very first thing before you even open. When you hear that chord? Now that we're alone, don't be afraid to geek out hardcore about how excited this character is about being in love. I don't know if you've been in love, but it'll wreck you. Okay, and you got to just let it wreck you in this one. Can you actually, what we call monologue the text? Now that we're alone, may I tell you? Can we try that?
Mm-hmm.
You just speak it. Yeah.
Now that we're alone, may I tell you, I've been feeling very strange. Either something's in the air or else a change is happening in me. I think I know the cause. I hope I know the cause.
Yeah.
From everything I've heard, there's only one cause it can be.
Great. Can we go back to the track and can we put all of that wonderful energy, acting, shtick, whatever you want to call it, into that song?
Sure.
So enamoring. I love it. Let's try it. Can you even breathe with that energy before you even open your mouth to sing? Can we already know something's happening?
Yeah.
So, go for it. I know you have to hit the button to play. It's a little awkward.
Yeah. I can. Now that we're alone, may I tell you, I've been feeling very strange. Either something's in the air or else a change is happening in me. I think I know the cause. I hope I know the cause. From everything I've heard, there's only one cause it can be.
Good. Let's stop. Real quick. The thing about Sondheim is he does everything on purpose. So why did he put, it's happening in me, rest. I think I know the cause, rest. I hope I know the cause, rest. Why did he put all those rests in?
Because I guess the character is kind of switching between like, hey, I know what I'm feeling to, well, I think I know. Or very like oscillating feelings,
Yes, and so it's for us to transition from this idea to this idea or this. So can we do that again? And when you go through those pauses, I need you to think that energy through so that you have a reason to say the next entrance. And then, oh wait, no wait, I think this. I think I know. I hope I know the cause. Okay, we see that transition happening in facial expressions, so that even the silence has the energy of your singing. Okay, we start one more time. That was so much better. I love all your acting.
Now that we're alone, may I tell you, I've been feeling very strange. Either something's in the air or else a change is happening in me. I think I know the cause.
Are you sure you know the cause?
I hope I know the cause. From everything I've heard, there's only one cause it can be. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sometimes it's good to figure out what the question is that comes before the sentence you're about to say. So you have a reason to fill in more space with music, you know? Now, that's the first page, freely. Great, okay? Now, next page, moderately in 4, okay? Well, that means it's time to really sing, okay? So love I hear makes you, feel free to croon it up, okay? This is what, the 50s, 60s? You know, don't be afraid to just schmooze and croon and have fun with it, okay? Makes you sigh a lot, you know? Have fun with it. Can we start right there? Is that possible?
Sure. Let's see if I can. Love I hear makes you sigh a lot. Also love I hear leaves you weak.
We want to use our sliding intentionally, okay? Just like sometimes in musical theater, we'll also clip words short intentionally because we want to bring, you know, some kind of emphasis to them. There's a whole gamut of expressions in musical theater so we can use to bring emphasis to a certain syllable or a word or an idea. One can be, love I hear makes you sigh a lot. I would probably do the makes you because it sounds like the sigh I'm about to sing about, okay? But then on the next one, also love I hear makes you weak. I might intentionally clip that, even though Sondheim did write a whole note tied to a half note. Because we did a lot of smushy gushy stuff. Now we need a difference in contrast, okay? Can you go back to just that little section and see how many contrasts you can put in? It's always about keeping a balance, you know? Let's try that again.
Love I hear makes you sigh a lot. Oh, so love I hear leaves you weak.
Brilliant, go on.
Love I hear makes you blush and turns you ashen. You try to speak with passion and squeak.
Great. I think you can get even crazier.
Okay.
Love I hear makes you blush. I would put an actual schwa between the B and the L and do blush a lot, you know, because it's so like love has taken over you. You've lost all semblance of being able to keep it together, okay?
Okay.
You can blush and turns you ashen. You try to speak with passion and squeak. I would like the most horrendous voice squeak ever, okay?
And still be happy about it.
Yeah, because you don't care because you're in love and whatever happens, happens. You can be reckless with abandon, okay? Can we just do that a little bit? Love I hear makes you blush. It's almost like you're gonna vomit on us, okay?
Love I hear makes you blush and turns you ashen. You try to speak with passion and squeak. I hear.
So we can't keep going. But there's so many little nuggets in this song of little like just things that you can find, pine away, an idiotic grin. You can play with the word grin, and you can take, you know, a musical theater will like make one syllable words into like 3 syllable words because we put so many schwas in, but it's okay. It's okay. I pine and blush, all those like little things, those little snippets you have, there's so much you can do. You have good instincts. Don't be afraid to take them further, okay? You want to get this left. Zero Mistel was in this show. The dude was like so over the top, okay? He did nothing subtly. You can do this. You have a beautiful voice. Keep singing. Keep trusting your instincts. and make us laugh. Great work tonight.
Thank you.
Great work, Luke. That was fantastic. Okay, so we have our next singer, Kaden. And also, I would like to take this time to welcome our audience. We have some alumni. We have Marissa tuning in from New York. We have some parents all over, and also the Schmidt Network. Welcome.
Yeah, my parent. Ahaha.
Ooh. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Whoever.
No. Okay.
Fancy lighting. I love it.
Thank you.
What are you singing tonight, my friend?
Well, for starters, my name is Caden Mertz, and tonight I will perform for you Chain Store Daisy from Pins and Needles.
Love it. Can't wait.
When I was young, I studied hard and thirsted after knowledge, and often burned the midnight oil so I could get to college. They told me my fine education would help improve my situation. So then I crammed and crammed till I was almost in a coma, and thesized an exam until I got me a diploma. Aha, they said now comes admission into a very high position. Out I went and looked around, and Macy's is the place that I found. I filled my blanks in application and went for my examination. They took my weight and they took my height and tapped my chest and tested my sight, examined my head, took prints of my toes, looked up teeth and at my nose, examined my throat and measured my hips, and even took prints of my fingertips. They made me say ah and told me to grunt. Examine my back, examine my front. Then they tested my IQ and asked what I'd like to do. And when that exam was through, what there was to know, Macy's knew. So I got the job. Life is a bitter cup of tea. Now I'm just sales girl 73. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now I'm a chain store daisy. Once they gave me the honor seat. Now I stand up with pains in my feet. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now shoppers drive me crazy. I sell smart but thrifty corsets at $3.50, better grade $4.69. I sell bras and girdles for mods and myrtles to hold in their plump behind this counter. Once I wrote poems, put folks to tears. Now I write checks for ladies' brassieres. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now I'm a chain store daisy. Oh yes, madame. Oh no, madame. I guess, madame. That's so, madame. Oh, that is the very best. Exactly the kind worn by Mae West. For you, madame. That's true, madame. For you, madame. In blue, madame. That one is 1974. It ought to be expensive. It's the largest in the store. Once I had a yearning for all higher learning, studied till I made the grade. I pursued my knowledge and finished college. Look at the kind of grade I made. I'm now selling things to fit the figure. Make the big things small and the small things bigger. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now I'm a chain store daisy.
I loved it. How fun. How fun. When did you get this piece? Did you find it? Did your teacher find it?
Spring term. So a few months ago, but I dug it up again for this.
Great. I mean, it's the kind of piece that could win a competition. I mean, it's just got everything in it. It tells a story, it's got the acting, it's got the speaking, it's got the great vocals, and you do it so well. Bravo, bravo. Seriously, it was so much fun. It's definitely like giving me such Mrs. Maisel vibes. I don't know if you've watched
Oh,
Mrs. Maisel. I want to be her, and I want her giant apartment on the Upper West Side. But it's so great. Can we go back to the top? The thing about this song is it's like 3 or 4 songs in one. It really is. It has so many sections to it. And I think what will give it more of an arc so that it feels like a whole story and really like just this powerhouse of a moment is if we kind of specify what each section is going to be, okay? So if we look at the top, we've got our little intro. That's just like our doo-doo-doo, 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 back in time music, okay? So we're going back to when you were young and you worked so hard. So how is that different from where you end up at the end of this as a chain store daisy? Who are you at the beginning that you aren't at the end?
I mean, for one thing, I was a little bit younger because, you know, that's how it starts. I think a little bit more innocent as far as like life goes, just because, you know, she starts saying, I was in college and this is the idea that I had of life and this and this and this. And then I actually got there and it's actually this and this and this.
Okay, great. So let's start saying this first section first. I would probably call the first section, at least from when I was young and studied hard, all the way through. You could almost make 2 sections here that you have all this fine education, and that's one section. Then you cram and cram and cram. We've got all the stress, and then you get your diploma. Okay, so that's like our first like hurdle, our first little hero's journey that she goes on. I'm alive, I'm naive, I work really hard, and I get this thing. Yay, okay. So what does it look like when someone's innocent and naive and has not really experienced the big bad world yet of Macy's? How do they stand? How do they hold themselves? How do they look at the world?
I feel like a little bit more like, I feel like they stand a little bit taller. Like just in the way that they're like, yeah, I can do anything.
Brilliant. Absolutely. And the more you can take that energy and posture and motions and the way you look with your eyes into those first couple of pages, and when you cram and cram, bring it back down, but then end up with that diploma and end up there that you're just this unstoppable Energizer bunny of positivity. Life is going to be everything you wanted. And then out I went and looked around and Macy's. Did she want to end up at Macy's?
I don't think so.
Like, what do you think she wanted? It doesn't tell us. You can make it up. You can make it up.
Honestly, with just like the way that she is, I feel like she just didn't want to work at a department store. I mean, I feel like she really wanted to make a little bit. She wanted to make more of herself. Like she wanted to like branch out a little bit more.
Maybe she wanted to be a stand-up comic like Mrs. Maisel, you know? Like, maybe let's channel that story into this piece. It works. It serves it. Excuse me. So when we get to this, out I went and looked around, I would let my whole posture start to collapse. Like, oh no, what have I done? Oh my God. They did this to me. They did that to me. And they could be a lot more intrusive because it's just like a lot. Like it's a lot. That should not happen. If anyone listening has this happen to them in a job, report them, okay? This is like way overstepping boundaries. And like, that's the interesting thing about a piece that's from this, I guess the 60s, I think this is. We can comment, it's even earlier than that, it's the 30s and the 40s. We can comment on it a little bit with our 2020 understanding, be like, it's not okay, you know? And we can like bring that opinion into this, at least in my opinion. So when you get to that, don't be afraid to like, what the are you doing to me? Like, you know, it doesn't have to be, okay, whatever. And that's when I love the line, and when that exam was through, what there was to know Macy's knew. So I got the job, okay? Now we're finally into the job, okay? Now I feel like she's sitting back, you know, she's got her cup of tea. I mean, not really, but she can, like, you can get a little bit more like sway back. You can be like, oh, here I am. I've got my cigarette. Don't smoke it. But like we're acting. So, you know, I think, you know, here I am. I'm stuck at a desk. I'm talking to all these rich, horrible people that just want me to tell them what they want to hear all day. You know, which is so funny to see you go from, yes, I can do anything to, you know what I'm saying? That if we can show more of that in this song, I think it's gonna like take it from sounding really good to being like, what a journey she just took it on. Can we start it from the top again?
Okay.
Try and get all those feelings and show us all the different songs in the song. Really, absolutely, great.
When I was young, I studied hard and thirsted after knowledge, and often burned the midnight oil so I could get to college. They told me my fine education would help improve my situation.
Great choices.
Sorry?
Great job. Keep it up. Sorry.
Emphasized and examined until I got me a diploma. Aha, they said now comes admission into a very high position.
Oh, show us new.
Looked around and Macy's is the place that I found. I found my blanks in application and went for my examination.
Can you pause for a second? Can we time out 1 second?
Tested my sight, examined my head, took prints of my toes, looked at my teeth and on my nose.
Good.
Pulled my throat and measured my hips and even took prints of my fingertips. They made me say ah and told me to grunt. Examine my back, examine my front.
Cute.
They tested my IQ and asked what I'd like to do. And when that exam was through, what there was to know, Macy's knew. So I got the job. Life is...
Keep going.
Sales girl 73. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now I'm a chain store daisy.
Yeah.
They gave me the honor seat. Now I stand up with pains in my feet. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now shoppers drive me crazy.
Yes.
Smart but thrifty, car sits at $350. Better reach for $59. I sell bras and girdles for mods and myrtles to hold in their plump behind this counter. Once I wrote poems, put folks to tears. Now I write checks for ladies' brassieres. I used to be on the daisy chain. Now I'm a chain store daisy.
We hit pause for a second. I loved all those choices. I loved how you made voices. For this next section, we don't have time because I'm getting the move on signal. But I would have a specific person in mind for every, oh yes, madam, and then a different person, oh no, madam. I want like literal people in your mind that annoy you, okay? You have great instincts. You're such a colorful artist, dear. Keep exploring that, keep studying, keep singing. You have so much to say. I love the opinions that we got this time around. Never hold that back from anything you sing, whether it's Schubert or musical theater, okay? Wonderful singing. Keep it up. Nice to meet you. Great to hear you.
Thank you.
Wonderful job, Kaden. Thank you so much. And we have our final singer, Trevor.
Hello, my name is Trevor Hansen, and tonight I'll be performing for all of you The Lake Isle of Innisfree, poetry by William Butler Yeats and set to music by Ben Moore in 2001.
Brilliant.
Arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the beloved glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow. And evening, full of the linnet's wings, I will arise and go now, for always night and day. I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey. I hear it in the deep heart's core. The deep heart's
Great work, Trevor. Great work. Beautiful. So charming, and you are so sensitive to what you're singing about. You really love it, and it's so clear to us as your audience, and that's such a gift. That's such a gift, man. How new is this song for you? How long have you been working on it?
I believe I've had it since spring semester, or it may have been fall semester last year. But this is one of my favorite pieces in the repertoire, and I keep coming back to it.
Yeah, it's really clear, like it's in you. We feel it with you. Yeah. What is it about this that just grabs you so much?
So the poetry that William Butler Yeats wrote, it's all of this beautiful, serene imagery of a lake isle, and it just brings me into such a great space mentally and just in general. It's wonderful.
Yeah, y'all have such pretty nature up there. I'm sure it's wonderful. We have malls and we have roads here in Texas, but no, it's beautiful. And I feel like all these lines, there's something immersive about how it's set with this interweaving between the da-da-da, da-da-da that's happening, and that this just really captures this picture of nature so well. It's almost, God, I almost feel like Josh Groban's gonna put this on an album or something. It almost has that kind of like inspirational vibe even, but don't tell him I said that. Can we do one thing quick, real thing? This is for Robert White. Do you know who that is? Did you see that on the music? So I'm pretty sure this is Robert White, the tenor that's on faculty. Actually, I think he might not be anymore at Juilliard. And he was very famous as a young tenor for singing like these Irish songs. And my one of my coaches in graduate school was his pianist. So I heard all about Robert White. Like there are all these posters of Robert White in his office. And with this kind of music, I love how descriptive your performance was and how much energy there was, but we have to channel it into more like standing there. But I don't want you to lose any of that beautiful energy that is so there, but I need you to channel it mostly to here for this kind of music, okay? Because in like the song before, we don't have these, and we don't want to take away from that in this kind of music, okay? We want to serve that. And you can feel that and show us that you're in that moment, but you don't need to necessarily act out that moment so expressively with the rest of your body, okay? I think Robert's still alive. I mean, he's up there in age now. He's got this big belly and he's a sweet man. I don't think he's ever harmed a fly in his whole life. And, there's just this wonderful countenance and you have a lot of like similar energy. You just come across very kind. That's wonderful. And I think if you just can stand there, we'll get even more clearly what's in your heart and how much you love this song, okay? Can we just start it again? And you just show us everything. You almost have to have a movie in your mind. You really do have to have a movie in your mind of what you're seeing. And you have a very clear picture of this. And I love that. Play that as we listen to this intro and feel it with you and then get caught up in what you feel with your singing. Try that for us. Plan it.
I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree.
Wait, can you hit pause for a second? I dare you to stand completely still from the shoulders down when you start to sing. I dare you. Can we just try giving out the track? Can you just try a cappella and put all the energy here?
I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree.
Yes, there is still a little bit of shimmy shimmy, but that's the right idea, okay? It just takes it and makes it look so much more professional. If you want to go in and take this song into a competition, which you should, definitely. You have such a connection to it. This is the kind of music that goes somewhere when you mean it, okay? But we've got to make sure, we all have stuff that we do, just kind of, we all have our tics and whatever, we have to figure out what those are and make sure that every single breath, every single eye twitch, every single shimmy, whatever, serves the text. I'm all for like pushing the envelope as you've seen earlier in the night, but we never want to do that at something that takes away from the moment. And I don't know that this is doing anything with wanting to arise and go, okay? You're a handsome man, you can sell it with just your face, okay? Can you just start that phrase again? And just stand there proudly, wide chest, see that. Describe what you're seeing. Tell me what you're seeing. What does it look like?
Well, I've got, in my mental image, I've got a big old lake surrounded by, on the far end are these rolling hills, and you've got a cabin up there, and then forest surrounding the lake with some bees.
What does it feel like on your skin? What does the air feel like?
It's comforting. It's exactly the right temperature.
Hot, yeah, exactly. I want you to be so in that moment that you don't want to move because you don't want to lose it, okay? Can we start this again, even with just a cappella? Breathe in that beautiful air. Go.
I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree.
My friend, that was so beautiful and peaceful. And you sounded more relaxed. I don't know if you intentionally did that or not, but there's something about taking in this moment and just being in your happy place. Your whole voice opened up even more. Did you feel that?
Yeah, real clear.
You should sing like that all the time. You have such great energy, and obviously you're very creative, okay? That's why you have all these ideas. And the thing that's going to be the challenge for you, my friend, is learning, which idea do I want to do this time? You know? And just pick one and try it. And you know what? Maybe on, what is today? October 28th, that's the idea of the day. But October 29th, you wake up and you're like, you know, I think that lake is a wild ocean, and I'm gonna let that inspire me. You know, maybe you've had a really bad day and the lake is a tiny little pond of like mucky water. That can be how you feel it, okay? But I need you to always go to that place and let that inspire you to sing, okay? Now I want to try it one more time. And I've got one more thing I want you to bravely try for me, okay? I want you to keep your eyes open. When you close your eyes, I know it's because you're so in that moment, but it cuts us off from that moment, okay? And you have wonderful eyes, and I would say 80% of your energy, and this is true whatever you're doing, opera, musical theater, leader, whatever, 80% of what you're trying to communicate comes from your eyes. And you only ever want to close your eyes for a very specific reason, because it's a very strong on the energy, okay? So let's start this again. We're back. What's the lake look like? Is it the same lake? What's the temperature? Okay. What's it smell like? What's the grass? Where are you at? You just decide that in your head. And let us see it in your eyes, okay? Whenever you're ready, sir. Take your time.
I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree.
Yeah, how did that feel?
Good. So good.
More vulnerable?
A little bit.
Do that. You know, as a singer, especially in this crazy, insane year that is 2020, it's easy to want to just block up, close your eyes, huddle down. You know, it's been a challenge for me to want to sing this whole year, you know, because there's just so much that we're all feeling. But I tell you, my friend, when you can stand up and let your heart be out there and open your eyes and let us see you, we just see ourselves in you, and then we don't feel as alone. And that is a gift. And not every singer can do that, man. So you really need to like hone in on this and share this, okay? You have a beautiful voice. Keep developing it. Great work tonight. Beautiful singing. Never stop singing this song your whole life, okay? Bravo.
Congratulations to all the singers, and a special thanks to pianist Amy Bors for recording the piano track for our singers tonight. We have some time left for Q&A. We'll take questions from the audience, so please feel free to use the chat feature to submit your questions. We already have one person who submitted a question, and she asked about breath management. Or do you have any exercises that you use in your studio for your students?
Absolutely. I think, you know, things where you practice maybe on like a, where you can make a little kazoo with your finger. I think sometimes it's helpful. Let me see if I can put this at an angle that you can see. If you press your hands together pretty firmly, and I'm kind of like hugging a tree here, you can feel muscles back here engaging. You know, the thing we forget is that 70% of our lung tissue is in the back of our rib cage. So what our back muscles do as we control that outflow of air is so important. And I didn't really have the ability to control my breath like I wanted to until I started swimming. And here in Texas, we have pools. And I don't know that you guys have that option up there, but some of it really is just muscular strength and flexibility. And it wasn't until I started swimming laps that built up my back strength, because I'm not an athlete naturally at all. But things like planks can probably do that as well. You know, there are ways to do that. But yes, it's definitely exercises, but it's even your cross training, so to speak. Does that answer the question, Sam? Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. We have a question from one of our voice faculty members, Holly Boaz. She would like to know what advice you give to young MT hopefuls who are just beginning to put together their audition book. What must be in their book now in today's MT biz?
you have to have pop music. You have to know pop music. You have to listen to pop music. I mean, there's Alanis Morissette right now. There's a Tina Turner musical right now. You know, there's just so much. There's a Michael Jackson musical that's about to happen sometime when this world gets back together. There's just so much of that. I'm not a huge fan of a jukebox musical, to be honest, but like, it's the reality. And like, Hamilton is much more breathy singing, you know, belting and that kind of stuff, rapping. I would really get a lot of storytelling pop music. It needs to have a journey. It needs, like some of the things I talked about tonight, even in this more legit golden age musical theater, it has to go somewhere. Even if it's a 16-bar cut, you have to go on a journey. Something has to happen in that room, in that moment. Yeah, you want to get in your money notes, but like, listen to all kinds of stuff. Listen to John Mayer. I think, you know, he writes a lot of great stories. And if you can get someone, I mean, you all feel free to email me, you know, schwartzstudio@gmail.com if you ever need ideas. If you need someone to help write arrangements, you know, there are people out there. And don't be afraid to work on them yourself too. You know your voice. Everybody sings in the shower. You know, maybe look at what's your go-to pop song in the shower. And maybe that can help you find something.
Awesome, thank you. Someone asked, who was the student who got into Hamilton? You have... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Elizabeth Judd is in Hamilton. She's not now. She actually left the show in March of 2019 because her mom got really sick. And then now she's out in LA doing some stuff that I can't tell you yet. But she's in the movie. She's she's in the ensemble in the movie because they put all the original cast in the roles in that. But yeah, it was super fun. She's super talented. Check her out on Instagram. She's a wonderful, wonderful human as well. I think that's just as important as being incredibly talented too. It's just people need to want to hang out with you. So, yeah.
One of our participants asked, what do you feel is a remedy for losing your passion for music or from preventing that lost passion?
That's really hard. You know, graduate school kind of beat a lot of love of music out of me because I was so scared of being wrong. I grew up playing the piano and like, I love, like, even if I never performed again, I would still sit at my piano and sing and play the piano because it's like part of me. I've been playing the piano since I was 3. Like, it's just like an inherent thing I do. How do you protect that, or how do you get it back? How do you protect it? Sometimes it's okay to tell everyone to just get away. There's a really wonderful book that I've probably read 4 times called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Y'all, the first time I read this book, I wrote an album. It's like 12 chapters, each chapter is like a week, and it'll just help you get past those voices in your head that tell you you can't do this, that you're not good enough, and it'll help you explore like, what is your unique voice for the world? And that's what we need. Don't hide that, people. What makes you quirky is what makes you special. You know, own that.
Awesome. I love The Artist's Way. It really helped me identify the voices in my head and also place the importance in the creating part, not the product part, right? Just doing it, just singing.
Just sing.
Not singing for anything in particular. Yeah, loved it. One person asked, how has being a performer in 2020 transformed your mindset or stretched you creatively?
You have to get really good at dealing with audio-visual stuff because it's all online now. It's all videos. But I kind of love it. Like, I've been kind of dying for there to be a reset in at least the opera world because I feel like it's time, it's past time. It's time to make some new stuff happen. It's time to get back to where opera's a little bit more cutting edge. That's a whole nother discussion. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen. We'll see. There needs to be way more diversity of voices and people's lives that are making these decisions, and I think that's starting to happen. So yes, and we'll see. You know, I encourage you all to keep putting your voices out there. It's hard. You're always going to get rejected more than you ever get accepted. But like, just do it. That's part of the work. The joy is getting to sing. The work is having to go through the drudgery. But it's important and it's worthwhile. And we get one spin on the planet. Might as well go for it, you know?
Absolutely. Do you find yourself teaching students who are singing musical theater differently from classical singing style?
I would say when it comes to the final product and stylings and stuff, there's a lot of differences in styles for sure. But in the beginning, no. I mean, you got to learn to breathe, people. You got to learn to support. You got to get all this tension out of your neck. You got to learn to release your jaw. You got to get the tongue out of there. I mean, there's like so many pieces. And then you can start talking about, well, we're going to change how we feel this vowel and things like that. But in the beginning, you all just need to get your bodies together first. And you have to be in such good shape to be on Broadway to do that 8 times a week. It's brutal. It is so hard. They have a physical therapist on staff. They have multiple ones on staff at Hamilton because the people are just so exhausted. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Awesome. What do you tell your students now, or even parents? I know that you teach high school singers who are aspiring to go into music perhaps, but with the lockdown and everything being closed, what advice do you give them?
Being in lockdown is kind of like growing up in a tiny little town, okay? And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'd also say it was a good place to leave. But, for your formative years, maybe it's good to focus in. Maybe it's good to have less distractions and more time to work on your craft. Maybe it's good to have more time. You guys have YouTube now. I mean, I didn't have YouTube in high school. There's so many slime tutorials out there. If you don't know what that means, ask someone, okay? You can see so many shows that I never dreamed of being able to see when I was in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. Performing is important, don't get me wrong, but there's so much to learn, there's so much to build still at this age. Go and have fun, listen to stuff, sing your brains out, sing for your friends, sing stuff online. I'm trying to put together like a little silly Christmas concert to do, The great thing about now is that this is unprecedented, so you can do anything. And you should enjoy that. No one can judge you. So create, be bold, sing, make stuff up, That's what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was a delightful evening, and we learned so much about being musical theater hipsters.
Absolutely.
And again, congrats to all the performers, and special thanks to pianist Amy Bors for providing the piano tracks. Thank you everyone so much. Please join us next Monday, November 2nd, for our last masterclass of the semester. We have the world famous tenor Limi Polium. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.